The wind rustled through towering trees, their massive trunks stretching toward a sky painted in shades of amber and deep violet. Somewhere in the distance, a river twisted through the dense forest, its surface glittering with the first light of dawn. Birds called out in shrill choruses, their songs cutting through the thick, humid air. This was a world unclaimed, raw, and untamed, where every shadow could hide a predator or a miracle. On the forest floor, a small group of early humans stirred, their movements cautious, almost reverent. Their skin glistened with morning dew, muscles tense with the constant awareness of danger. One misstep could mean the end, a snap of a branch or a rustle in the leaves signaling a lurking predator. They had no weapons to match claws or fangs, no shields against the forces of nature. Yet they walked forward, curiosity and instinct mingling in equal measure. Among them, a figure paused, squinting into the dim light filtering through the canopy. A flicker of movement caught its eye, a shadow slipping through the trees with impossible precision. Not a predator. Not quite human either. Every hair on its body bristled as it sensed something watching, guiding, protecting. Could it be imagination? Or was there truly a presence that moved with uncanny awareness among these fragile beings? A sudden roar echoed from deeper in the forest, reverberating through the trunks like a warning. The humans froze, instinct gripping them like iron chains. Yet, even as fear threatened to overwhelm, the shadow remained, circling, patient, alert. Its gaze seemed to meet theirs, silently urging them forward, coaxing them through the dangers that surrounded them. Who, or what, was guarding these early wanderers, these tiny sparks of life that might one day change the world? Branches snapped in the distance. The group tensed, hearts pounding. The protector, unseen yet unmistakably there, moved closer, a whisper of motion in the undergrowth. The early humans took a cautious step forward, drawn toward warmth, toward hope, even as the unknown pressed in on every side. Could a creature be guarding humanity before humans even understood fire? And if so, why had it chosen this moment, these fragile lives, to intervene? The forest held its breath, shadows flickering across faces and leaves, and the first glimmers of a bond that could alter history trembled on the edge of discovery. The morning mist clung to the undergrowth, draping the forest in a ghostly veil. Early humans moved with careful deliberation, their eyes scanning every shadow, every flicker of movement. Hunger gnawed at their bellies, each step heavier than the last, yet the hunt yielded nothing. Small fruits had been picked clean, roots dug up and discarded, and the occasional scuttling insect offered little more than temporary relief. Nature was relentless, and survival demanded constant vigilance. Above them, a storm brewed. Clouds churned like angry beasts, and distant rumbles of thunder warned of a torrential downpour. The humans quickened their pace, seeking shelter beneath a canopy of tangled branches. Rain began to fall, each droplet stinging their skin, soaking through rough garments and chilling their bones. The cold was unyielding, the wind slicing through the forest like invisible claws. They huddled together, shivering, and the fear of predators became almost secondary to the threat of exposure. Every rustle, every distant howl seemed amplified in the storm, testing their resolve. Suddenly, a roar shattered the rhythm of the rain, echoing through the valley with such force it made the ground tremble. Instinctively, the humans froze, muscles coiled, eyes darting toward the sound. But it wasn't a predator. Not exactly. Something else moved through the shadows, deliberate and precise. The wind carried a faint scent of fur and earth, a presence that seemed aware of both danger and need. Could it be an ally, or another threat disguised in the forest's gloom? A young human, trembling from cold and fear, stepped backward, narrowly avoiding a tangle of roots. A nearby tree shook violently, and for a heartbeat, survival seemed impossible. Yet amidst the chaos, the mysterious figure appeared again, swift, silent, and oddly commanding. Its gaze swept over the humans, unspoken intelligence shining in its eyes. Was this the guardian hinted at before, or something else entirely? The humans pressed on, guided by instinct and the faint reassurance of the unseen presence. They scavenged what they could, sharing morsels silently, hearts still pounding. Every step was a negotiation with death, every glance behind them a test of courage. And yet, hope glimmered, fragile, fleeting, but unmistakable. Could this mysterious presence change the fate of humans forever, tipping the scales between extinction and survival? Thunder rolled overhead as the storm intensified, and the forest seemed alive with threats and secrets. Every crack of a branch, every distant roar, hinted that survival was a battle far greater than hunger or cold. And somewhere in the shadows, the protector watched, waiting for the moment to intervene, to guide, to defend. Would the humans endure the night? And if they did, what price would they pay for the lessons the forest demanded? A sudden silence fell over the forest, broken only by the rhythmic patter of rain dripping from leaves. The humans froze, every muscle tense, as if the storm itself had paused to watch. Then, from the undergrowth, emerged a figure unlike any they had encountered, a creature of power and grace, moving with deliberate purpose. Its coat was a blend of earth tones, blending seamlessly with the forest floor, but its eyes glimmered with something far beyond instinct. Intelligence. Awareness. A quiet authority that demanded attention. It circled the humans, growling low, a sound that vibrated through the air like a warning drum. The humans recoiled instinctively, unsure whether to flee or stand their ground. Yet in its gaze was something more than threat, an understanding, almost human in its perception, that seemed to measure their strength, their fear, and their potential. Could this animal be friend or predator? Every step it took was deliberate, each movement calculated, a dance between caution and command. One of the younger humans reached out instinctively, curiosity warring with fear. The creature's ears twitched, and it paused, head tilted as if evaluating the gesture. Then, with an almost imperceptible shift, it relaxed its stance, its growl fading into a low, rumbling acknowledgement. A connection sparked, tenuous, fragile, yet undeniable. The humans sensed it immediately. This was no ordinary forest animal. There was loyalty here, a willingness to protect, to guide. But why now? Why them? Suddenly, a rustle in the nearby bushes snapped everyone's attention back to the forest. A predator, larger than anything they had seen, emerged, eyes gleaming with hunger. The humans froze, paralyzed by fear, yet the German shepherd ancestor stepped forward, muscles coiled, teeth bared. It moved between the humans and the threat, body taut and ready to strike. Every instinct honed by survival, every motion precise and terrifying in its elegance. Could a single creature face such danger and succeed where humans could not? The predator lunged, jaws snapping, but the dog's agility was unmatched. It leapt, barked, and struck with a force that seemed almost supernatural, buying precious seconds for the humans to retreat toward safety. The forest echoed with the clash of teeth and growls, shadows flickering in the rain-soaked light. And through it all, the humans could only watch, hearts pounding, realizing that their fate might now hinge on the courage and intelligence of this extraordinary creature. As the predator finally retreated, the dog returned to the human's side, eyes softening, scanning each face as if ensuring no one was harmed. Why would this animal, so early in history, form a bond with humans? What instinct, what cosmic alignment had drawn them together in this moment of peril? The rain continued to fall, the forest held its breath, and the first true partnership between human and protector trembled on the edge of discovery. The humans huddled beneath the thick canopy, the storm finally easing into a steady drizzle. Their bodies shook from cold, fear, and exhaustion. The German Shepherd ancestor stood close, ears alert, muscles tense, as if sensing both danger and opportunity. One of the humans reached for a pile of dry branches, rubbing them together in a desperate attempt to warm their fingers. Sparks flew, tiny flashes against the gloom, and eyes widened in astonishment. Something extraordinary was happening, something that would change everything. One spark caught a dry twig, igniting it instantly. Flames leapt and danced, orange and gold against the gray forest. The humans gasped, stumbling backward in awe and terror. Heat licked their faces, the fire crackling like a living creature. Panic surged as they realized this bright, strange force could burn, destroy, or protect. Could something so small wield such power? Their hearts raced, torn between fear of the unknown and fascination at its promise. The dog stepped closer to the fire, nose twitching, eyes reflecting the flickering light. It circled, sniffing cautiously, then lowered its head and pressed close to the humans, as if approving, instructing, protecting. Sparks flew again, scattering over damp leaves, and the humans flinched. One false move, one careless breath, and everything could be consumed. Yet at the same time, warmth spread through their bodies, their stiff muscles relaxing for the first time in hours. Fire was a weapon, a shield, and a comfort, all in one flickering flame. A sudden howl pierced the forest, snapping attention back to the dangers that still lurked. Shadows stretched and shifted, predators watching from hidden corners. The humans froze, unsure whether the fire would draw them closer or keep them at bay. The dog growled, positioning itself between the humans and the darkness, every muscle taut and ready to defend. Sparks popped, sending a cascade of light into the treetops, illuminating fleeting shapes and hidden eyes. Could this fragile flame survive the night, or would the forest reclaim the humans and the fire together? One human reached out to poke the flames, fascinated by the way the light danced on the wet leaves. Another tried to blow gently, sending smoke curling skyward. The dog pressed closer again, nudging the humans to move carefully, teaching instinctively what words could not. Every flicker of the fire seemed alive, unpredictable, thrilling, and terrifying. The forest itself seemed to hold its breath, watching, waiting for the consequences of this new, dangerous discovery. As sparks drifted upward and the fire crackled in the growing darkness, the humans huddled closer together, eyes wide, hearts pounding. One spark, and the forest seemed alive, yet flames could betray as easily as they protected. The first warmth, the first light, the first taste of power trembled between hope and danger, and the night stretched ahead with mysteries yet unsolved. The fire crackled, sending sparks swirling into the damp night air. Shadows danced across the forest floor, and the humans huddled close, warmth seeping slowly into their chill bodies. The dog stood rigid, ears pricked, eyes scanning the tree-line. A low growl rumbled from deep in its chest, vibrating through the air, warning both humans and intruders that something was coming. The humans' breaths caught in their throats as movement flickered at the edge of the firelight. From the darkness, a predator emerged, massive and silent, eyes gleaming with hunger. Its fur shimmered wet from the storm, muscles coiled for the attack. Time seemed to slow. The humans instinctively stepped back, clinging to each other, hearts pounding. The fire illuminated the predator's sleek form, revealing razor-sharp claws and teeth capable of tearing flesh from bone. Panic rose like a tide. This creature could destroy everything in an instant. The dog surged forward, hair bristling, teeth bared. Every instinct honed by generations of survival flared in a single, explosive moment. It circled the predator, growling low, warning it off, positioning itself between danger and the humans. The The predator hesitated, considering its next move. A sudden snap of a branch sent both creatures flinching, and the tension coiled tighter than any human muscle could hold. Could the dog hold its ground against a beast larger and stronger than itself? Then the predator lunged. In an instant, the dog leapt without hesitation, dodging claws and snapping jaws, countering with a fierce bite to the predator's flank. The forest erupted with sound. The predator's roar, the dog's growl, the crackle of fire, the human's terrified gasps. Branches shattered under the force of the struggle. Sparks flew as claws struck stones and roots. The humans could only watch, frozen, hearts hammering, realizing that their fragile fire, and perhaps their very survival, depended on the outcome of this battle. Seconds stretched like hours. The dog moved with precision, using speed and intelligence to evade the predator's attacks while forcing it back toward the darkness. Every strike carried weight, every dodge was life or death. Finally, with a swift, calculated maneuver, the predator recoiled, growled, and retreated into the shadows. The dog's sides heaved, fur slick with rain and sweat, eyes still scanning for threats, but the immediate danger had passed. The humans exhaled shakily, the fire casting flickering light over their faces, illuminating relief and awe. Yet a deeper question lingered in the charged silence. If the protector falls, what becomes of the first fire? Would these humans survive the night without the guardian at their side, or was this fleeting warmth destined to be extinguished by the relentless dangers of the forest? The dog lowered its head to the fire, smoke curling past its nose, the tension easing, but only slightly. The forest remained alive, hungry, waiting. The fire's warmth was fragile against the chilling night, casting long, jittering shadows that crept across the forest floor. The humans huddled close, muscles stiff, teeth chattering, while the dog sat alert between them and the darkened trees. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves, sounded like an ambush. The storm had passed, but the forest seemed charged with a restless energy, alive with hidden eyes and unheard movements. Survival demanded vigilance, yet exhaustion clawed at them relentlessly. A sudden squeak of movement nearby made the humans flinch. Shapes darted between trees, glimpses of glowing eyes vanishing as quickly as they appeared. The dog growled, low and threatening, stepping forward, its presence both shield and warning. Each human felt the tension tighten in their chest. Could a single misstep summon death? Yet even as fear wrapped around them, there was a strange reassurance. The dog's unwavering attention, its constant proximity, made the impossible seem possible. Hours passed with no relief. The humans whispered in low voices, sharing warmth and stolen comfort, while the dog prowled the perimeter, ears twitching, nostrils flaring at every unfamiliar scent. Every crack of a branch seemed like doom, every shadow a predator ready to strike. And yet, amidst the terror, something stronger than fear held them together. Trust, fragile, nascent, but powerful, glimmered in the small acts of courage. A hand held to steady a trembling companion, a glance toward the dog for guidance, a shared breath against the night's tension. Suddenly, a rustle exploded in the undergrowth. The humans froze, hearts hammering, as a predator lunged from the shadows. The dog leapt between them, teeth bared, claws digging into wet soil. The humans stumbled backward, scrambling over roots, nearly falling into the river that cut through the forest. One slip, 1 second too late, and death would have claimed them. Yet the dog's speed and precision bought them space, snarling and snapping, forcing the threat back into the darkness. Silence fell once more, thick and suffocating. Rain dripped from leaves, mingling with sweat and fear, as the humans slowly gathered around the fire again. Eyes scanned the shadows, ears straining for any hint of danger, while the dog circled, alert, protective, unwavering. The forest seemed endless, a labyrinth of potential death, yet the bond between human and dog pulsed like a heartbeat in the gloom. Could this fragile trust survive the night, or would the relentless shadows prove too much for the first partnership to endure? As the hours crawled toward dawn, the humans felt a mixture of relief and dread. They were alive, but the night had tested them in ways they could barely comprehend. Somewhere in the darkness, unseen eyes watched, waiting for the moment when courage faltered, when the bond weakened. The dog's fur gleamed in the firelight, ears alert, ready for the next trial, and the forest seemed to whisper, "The night is not yet done." The morning mist hung low, curling around tree trunks and damp foliage. The humans, still stiff from the night, began to watch the dog closely, noticing every twitch of its ears, every shift of its weight. Hunger still gnawed at them, but curiosity, sharp and insistent, pulled their attention toward the animal that had saved them more than once. Its movements were deliberate, precise, a language written in instinct, and they realized that survival was no longer just about finding food or avoiding predators. It was about understanding the rhythms of the forest through the dog's eyes. The dog padded silently through the undergrowth, nose close to the ground, sniffing trails invisible to human senses. The humans followed cautiously, copying its motions, learning how to step lightly, how to sense danger before it appeared. It stopped abruptly, ears pricked, tail stiff. They froze, hearts pounding, as the dog sniffed the air and then nudged a small cluster of wild fruit. One human reached out, trembling, to gather it. The dog's eyes flicked toward the shadows behind them, and they understood there was danger, always danger, even in moments of sustenance. As the day wore on, the humans began to internalize the lessons. The dog led them to water, showing patience as it waited for them to approach. It barked sharply at rustling bushes, a warning of predators hidden just beyond sight. The humans' fear slowly transformed into trust, yet the forest's threats remained, coiled and silent, watching every step. Each success, the safe gathering of food, the avoidance of traps hidden in roots, was tempered by the constant tension that the unknown waited just beyond their vision. At one point, the dog froze completely, muscles taut, ears rotating like radar. The humans turned slowly, sensing the shift in the air. Behind them, the forest waited, patient and hungry. A shadow passed just beyond the firelight, and instinct screamed that they were not alone. The dog's gaze never wavered, unwavering in focus, a bridge between life and death. Every movement, every warning, felt purposeful, as if it weren't just survival that the dog taught, but something deeper, something that required complete trust and attention. By evening, the humans had begun to see patterns, small signs of nature's rhythms that the dog had been following all along. Their fear mixed with awe. The animal had guided them, protected them, and yet the reasons behind its actions remained a mystery. Was this creature simply helping them survive, or was it leading them towards something far greater, something they could not yet comprehend? As the fire flickered, casting long shadows across faces filled with wonder and caution, the humans realized their journey was only beginning, and that the dog was more than a guardian. It was a teacher, a guide, and a living bridge between vulnerability and strength. The fire crackled and roared, a small sun in the heart of the forest. The humans sat close, faces illuminated in warm, golden light, the chill of the night finally retreating from their bones. Every flicker of flame sent dancing shadows across the trees, revealing shapes that were both familiar and threatening. The warmth wrapped around them like a protective cloak, and for the first time in memory, fear loosened its grip. The dog lay near the flames, ears twitching, eyes alert but calm, a silent confirmation that the humans were safe, for now. With the fire came confidence. The humans began experimenting, moving sticks into the flames, tossing leaves, testing the limits of control. Sparks flew, smoke curled upward, and laughter, a nervous, trembling sound, escaped from their lips. The fire was no longer just warmth. It was a tool, a shield, a signal to the forest that humans were learning to claim power over their world. Even the dogs seemed to recognize the change, nudging closer to the flames, circling protectively, ensuring that no mistake would extinguish this fragile advantage. But the forest had not been idle. Every flicker of light revealed movement in the shadows, eyes glinting, bodies crouching, predators drawn by curiosity or hunger. The humans sensed the tension without knowing its source, each crack of a branch making their hearts leap. The fire flickered, shadows dancing like restless spirits, and the warmth that had brought comfort now hinted at danger. Could this fragile circle of light and heat withstand the forest's scrutiny? Could the humans maintain their hold on something so volatile, so new? The dog shifted, head low, ears swiveling as a low growl rumbled from its chest. The humans froze, following its gaze to a cluster of bushes where shapes lurked just beyond the light. Every instinct screamed caution. The fire offered protection, yes, but it also revealed them, marked them as intruders in a world where only the strongest survived. Even as relief and awe filled their chests, a gnawing fear persisted. This newfound power, this mastery of fire, was not without cost. Could it attract threats far beyond their understanding, creatures drawn by heat, scent, or sheer curiosity, ready to challenge their claim? Night deepened, and the humans huddled closer to the flames, their eyes reflecting both hope and anxiety. The dogs stood watch, muscles coiled, every movement deliberate, scanning the darkness for signs of intrusion. Each spark was a victory, each wave of warmth a small triumph, but the forest remained patient, waiting for an opening, a mistake, a lapse in vigilance. The fire was more than survival. It was power, and power always drew attention. As shadows stretched long and the wind whispered through the canopy, the humans realized that this fire was not just a tool. It was a turning point, a fragile heartbeat of control in a wild, untamed world. And in the dark spaces beyond the glow, eyes watched, waiting, measuring, planning. What would emerge from the shadows to challenge their claim, and could they defend it against the unseen forces of the forest? The night was thick with smoke and tension. The fire roared, a fragile island of light in the dense forest, shadows flickering violently across trees and rocks. The humans huddled close, hearts pounding, every sense sharpened by the previous day's lessons. The dogs stood at the edge of the circle, muscles taut, ears swiveling, eyes reflecting the dancing flames with a predator's intensity. A new presence had entered the forest, something massive, unseen until now, a force that made the air itself tremble. A low growl rumbled from the darkness, vibrating through the human's bones. Then a massive shape erupted from the treeline, larger than anything they had faced, fur slick and eyes glowing with primal hunger. Its claws dug into the wet earth, sending sprays of mud and leaves into the firelight. The humans froze, realizing in a heartbeat that this was a challenge unlike any before. The predator was relentless, unstoppable, and its gaze fixed on the fire and the fragile lives gathered around it. Could the fire itself survive this confrontation, or would it be snuffed out by the predator's sheer strength? The dogs surged forward instantly, moving between the humans and the predator, teeth bared, growl echoing through the forest like a war drum. Claws scraped rocks and roots as the predator lunged, snapping and striking with terrifying speed. The dog dodged, countered, and leapt with precision, forcing the predator back while guiding the humans towards safer ground. Sparks flew from the fire as claws struck stones, each collision a heartbeat of danger. Claws, teeth, and sparks collided in a deadly dance, and the humans could only watch, adrenaline lacing every breath, fearing the loss of both protector and warmth. A branch cracked nearby, and the predator took advantage, spinning with terrifying agility to strike at the dog's flank. Pain flared, a yelp pierced the night, and the human's stomachs dropped. But the dog did not falter. With a swift, calculated maneuver, it lunged, sinking teeth into the predator's shoulder, rolling away to avoid lethal claws. Every action was instinct, strategy, and courage fused into a single force. The human scrambled, dragging small logs to strengthen the fire, throwing them between predator and flames to keep the light alive. Minutes, or hours, passed in a blur of motion and sound. The predator's roars shook the forest. The fire sputtered, threatened, yet endured. The dog's energy never waned, eyes locked on the threat, guiding, defending, ensuring that every human survived this ultimate trial. Finally, with a powerful strike, the predator recoiled, shaking itself free of the dog's relentless attacks, and retreated into the shadows, leaving the humans and fire intact. Breathing heavily, the humans sank to the ground, awe and fear mingling in their expressions. The dog remained alert, though the immediate threat had passed, muscles coiled, tail flicking, eyes scanning the darkened forest for the next danger. If the protector falls now, is humanity doomed before it can rise? Would this small circle of warmth and courage withstand the relentless threats of the wild? The fire glowed, steady yet fragile, a testament to survival, courage, and an unspoken bond between species, while the forest waited silently, hungry and patient, for what would come next. The fire crackled, steady now, painting the forest in a golden glow that held back the shadows. The humans sat close together, faces smeared with soot and relief, hearts still racing from the night's relentless trials. The dog lay beside them, ears flicking at every distant sound, eyes reflecting the flames with calm vigilance. For the first time, the humans felt a sense of safety, a fragile triumph born not from weapons or strength, but from trust, instinct, and an unspoken partnership that had grown through peril and patience. Morning light filtered through the canopy, brushing the forest floor with soft warmth. The humans marveled at the fire they had survived with, understanding its power not just as warmth, but as life itself. Each spark had been a teacher, each flicker a reminder that intelligence and courage were as vital as muscle and instinct. The dog nudged one human gently, then padded toward a small stream, pausing to ensure everyone followed. The lessons of survival were imprinted on their minds: observation, patience, caution, and the quiet guidance of a guardian who had chosen to stay. As they moved through the forest, gathering fruit and small game, the humans realized that fire was no longer a fleeting phenomenon. It was a symbol of progress, of cleverness, of the ability to transform danger into opportunity. The dog remained at the center of this evolution, its presence both protector and teacher, shaping the human's instincts and choices. Every glance, every nudge, every warning of danger became part of an unspoken dialogue between species, a bond that defied explanation but demanded respect. Yet even in this moment of triumph, the forest whispered reminders of its untamed nature. Shadows flickered at the edges of vision, distant calls echoed from unknown predators, and the wind carried secrets of unseen watchers. The flames burned brighter than ever, illuminating faces filled with wonder and gratitude. But what secrets did this night leave behind? Could the humans truly understand all they had survived, all they had learned, and all they had inherited from the courage of the creature beside them? Sitting by the fire, the humans and the dog shared a quiet, reflective silence, a communion of life and survival that stretched beyond words. The bond between them was profound, a testament to trust, loyalty, and the spark of intelligence that had ignited both flame and partnership. The forest, still alive with shadows and unseen eyes, seemed to acknowledge this fragile victory. And as the last sparks curled upward, one question lingered in the air, pressing on the mind. Could the courage of one dog millions of years ago have changed the course of human history? What do you think really happened? The answer remained hidden in the firelight, in the shadows, and in the hearts of those who had survived to witness the legacy of the first flame.